All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. And I'm so excited because we have a guest on that if you told me like 3 months ago that he was going to be a guest, I would have thought you're crazy. But it's Academy Award winner and now New York Times best-selling author, Matthew McConaughey. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Hi, Rachel. Good to be here.
Thanks for being here. Okay, well, we were just talking right before we started, but the book, your newest book, Green Lights, it is so good. I mean, I read it in 2 days. I couldn't put it down. And I was reading it at night too, and I just started laughing through half of it. And my husband was like, "What are you laughing at?" And I would just like read him these excerpts because I was like, "This is the funniest thing ever." But I want to know, so what caused you to read it, or I'm sorry, to write it? Because those of you that haven't read it, all the viewers watching probably want to know what it's about and why you decided to write it.
Well, I've been keeping journals since I was 14 years old. So for 37 years now, 35 when I started writing the book. And for the past 15 years, I've been threatening like, let's go away with all those journals and see if there's something worth sharing. But I didn't have the courage to do it. Finally, a couple of years ago, I was like, you know what? You just keep passing the buck, McConaughey. You keep just putting it off, thinking that like, my thought was, oh no, when you die, Camilla, my wife can maybe look through there. And if there's something worth sharing, she'll share it, which was a cop-out. So finally I said, and with her help, hey, let's get out of here and just go off alone with those journals somewhere for a few weeks alone and see what you got. And I went away and found stories, people, places, prescriptions, poems, prayers, and a whole lot of bumper stickers. And there were stacks of these. Those were sort of the 7 or 8 themes in it. And then through those categories, I found this theme of green lights. Found ways that I had engineered green lights in my life. Green lights being freedom in the future. They say go, they proceed, carry on your way. We like green lights in our life, you know. I also saw red and yellow lights in my life. Death of my father, red light. There was hardships, crises, yellow lights, moments of pause, moments of tragedy, moments of crisis. And I found that those red and yellows, even though I didn't want them and they hurt at the time, they revealed themselves to have green light assets in the future. Mm-hmm. They had lessons for me to learn in the future. So, you know, the red and yellows, we don't want them, but we sometimes need them. And I also found a certain way that I approach things, sometimes successfully, sometimes unsuccessfully, that helped me create more green lights in my life. And so
good. That's
what I wrote about.
Well, I can tell you from a girl in Nashville who obviously just knows you as the actor, when I heard people reading your book, they're like, you have to read this book. And I was like, okay. So when I finally picked it up and read it, I was like, I mean, I had no clue, number one, your story. I didn't even really know your marital status. I didn't know much about your personal life, just really your movies. So it was so refreshing just to kind of dig into the human part of you and who you are and the wisdom and the life that you bring, which I just love so much. And so on the show, we talk about life, we talk about money, but a lot of the people viewing it are moms. They're working outside the home and really just trying to create a better life for themselves. And so one of the things we talk about on the show a lot is that more is caught than taught. As parents, our kids are watching us. Our example is so huge in every part of our lives. So I want to know from you, what are a couple of things that you caught on from your parents? I know you read a lot about it in the book. Some lessons in life that you took with you and as an adult that you learned from your parents. And what are things you hope your kids are catching from you?
I always have been asked, like, tell me about the love that you and your family had growing up. And I always tell these stories of when we were disciplined, which sometimes they seem to be horrific stories because they involved the belt or what have you. But what my parents were really trying to instill, whether you agree with the means, what they were doing it or not, was extremely valuable. I got my first butt whooping for not answering to my name. My second one for saying, I hate you to my brother. My third one for saying, I can't start the lawnmower. And my fourth for lying. And the values that they were instilling in that were, it felt pretty obvious then. Oh, these are life lessons they want me to learn. So what's the antonyms of those? Well, don't hate, love. Don't say can't, don't believe you can't, but understand that you can be having trouble getting something done. And tell the truth, don't lie. Those are 3 great, valuable lessons to send a child into the world with that help make up who they are. Now, I go about trying to teach my children those in different ways than my mom and dad did, but I still inherently really want them to understand those things and have those be a part of their life and understand the importance of those. Stuff that was caught, seeing how you could not hold a grudge in our family. Even my mom and dad, and they had some fights that would be considered violent. The love was never questioned. The love was never in question. It was never going to be broken. So the love was never in question. We heard it a lot in our family. I love you. I just don't like you right now.
Classic line, right? I think we've all used that. So good.
That's a good one.
And well, what I like about all of that though is it's focusing with your kids on the character side. And I feel like in 2021 right now, with Americans and the way not only they handle their money, but even their family stuff and materialism is now become the priority. I mean, it's what can I get my kids? What can I buy? What can I get them? And it almost has trumped the character qualities of what you instill in your kids so that when they go off on their own, they can hold their own. So when it comes to all of that, I mean, you became a minimalist, basically, throughout your book, I read that and I love that because I love that whole idea of just kind of stripping everything away and say, okay, this is the life we're living and not focusing on all the materialism. But a lot of people think, well, if I just had more stuff, if I just had more money, if I just had more success, I would be happy. What would you say to that person?
Look, I mean, and some people aren't going to want to hear this out there, but we have to admit that retail therapy is not the answer. We have to admit that moving to the bigger house, and again, I've got nothing wrong with the bigger house. I've got nothing wrong with buying those things. I've got nothing wrong with fame. I've got nothing wrong with being with money and being rich. Nothing at all. I'm a fan of those things, but they're tools and they're actually sublimations sometimes. They don't really affect our happiness as much as we think they're going to. And I've traveled the world and I've seen what considered poor families without electricity who were living off of what they had planted in their garden yesterday to eat today or what have you, that were much more happy than billionaires I've been around that had more toys than everything else. Now, what are those times for me? Because I live in a affluent life. We've got a nice house. My pantry's full. Our kids go to a good school, et cetera. But at the very least, I know when I go off on those minimalist trips, I have a greater respect for the things that I have now in my life.
Yeah.
We try to teach our kids to go see, let's go without, to then come back and see what maybe we were taking for granted to have gratitude for.
So good.
And those things, if it's all retail therapy and it's just about having more, we're kind of hamsters on the wheel. I mean, where are we going? It doesn't fulfill us like we think it will.
Which I think is powerful to hear from you, honestly, though, because I always talk about how it's okay to have nice stuff. Just don't let your nice stuff have you. And when it starts to own you in so many aspects, it's so hard. And you could have, you're Matthew McConaughey. So I'm like hearing that though out of your mouth. I'm like, yes, that's the truth. Like that is what it is. And we live in a culture that we chase and chase and chase and chase. And that finish line just will keep moving if that's where you're trying to put your happiness and your identity. Well, and it's what are we chasing? We all want to be relative, but we forget to ask ourselves relative for what? Yep. My mother-in-law is a great phrase, which is like what you said a minute ago. She says, sometimes we have et cetera, and sometimes et cetera has us. That's it. That's it. Et cetera can have us. It can be wagging us. And you look around and you're going like, man, I'm trying to tend to these 100 things and I really don't care. Well, maybe get rid of some things and say, I write about it in my book about when I said no and shut down the production company and the music company. I said, I feel like I'm making C's in 5 things in my life and I want to get rid of 2 so I feel like I can maybe make A's in 3. I love that. Okay, you and Camilla, how long have you guys been married now? How many years? 8 years. Okay. So money and marriage, it's a big discussion. Money fights, money problems. I mean, it's a big part of marriage. So for you guys, when it comes to money, do you guys make money decisions together? Do you have conversations about it? Like, what does it look like in the McConaughey household? We both come from pretty humble beginnings. She's a farm girl from Belo Horizonte in Brazil. I'm a middle-class, blue-collar boy from Uvalde, Texas. So we both very much have a great respect for the dollar. Neither one of us pass a penny and don't pick it up.
to this day. Okay. So when it comes to, money, we discuss the larger stuff. And is that a want or a need? Oh, let's see if it's a need. I want it to be more than just a want. We've been just as happy living in my Airstream on the road with the kids as we have been in our house. That doesn't mean I want to get rid of the house. But back to your character question, we were just as happy, and you could argue sometimes even happier because we were just on top of each other, We make choices. We make choices where we go, what's not going to change our quality of life? I don't, I've accumulated enough wealth to go, okay, I can live this lifestyle and there's nothing else extravagant I want out there. And I want to live it where I don't, I'm still excited about going and filling up my car with super unleaded and going, fill it up. Super. It wasn't that long ago. I was like on regular unleaded going, I just need half a tank. I don't have, let me check my cash. So, I don't sweat those things, or, it's fun to go down to the supermarket, go down every aisle, every single aisle and go, we're going to get what we want and need here. We're going to fill our pantry. It's fun to be able to do that.
So good. Well, number one, the fact you guys even talk about money is huge. And I think that's a good example for people, because some people just, they run on two separate tracks. And you even saying a lot of married couples deal with their money completely separate. And one of the things I always try to encourage them is work together as a team when it comes to money. And so hearing that, even you saying we versus her or I mean, like those things are so, so key, I think, in creating a wholesome marriage and mindset. So thanks for letting me kind of dig into that. Okay, so one line you used a couple of times in the book that I loved, and I want you to explain it to the viewers, is less impressed, more involved. And I underlined it and flapped a couple pages with it because I thought that is so good. So explain what that means.
Yeah. So there's things that we have reverence for: fame, money, people, places in our future, attainable, maybe not attainable, but we have a certain reverence for them. Now, we're so impressed with them that when we're faced with them, we're not able to be actually involved with them. That woman or that man that we put on such a pedestal, that when we're together, we're not actually able to be ourselves and give of ourselves because we have them up on such a pedestal. And it's not only unfair to ourselves, it's unfair to them because they can't live up to it. If I think Camilla is Wonder Woman and she thinks I'm Mr. Incredible, neither one of us can live up to that. It's unfair to each other. Now, we should have great respect for each other. An athlete, pitcher gets pulled out of the bullpen, 9th inning, World Series. He's dreamed of this moment. But if he's so impressed with this moment and not involved with how I'm going to get the next 3 guys out at the plate, he's not going to have a good outing because he's not going to actually be present. He won't be involved in it. He'll have too much reverence for it. The moment will be bigger than him. Keep the respect for it. But if you're faced with it, be able to look it in the eye and go, I've earned the right to be here. I am here. It's live. I'm in this. I'm going to give of myself, of my truest self, and be able to receive, hopefully, this moment or this person's truest self back. Be less impressed, more involved.
I love that. So, so good. Well, there are a couple quotes I wrote down. I'm not going to say them all. But kind of this principle, so tell me if I'm wrong if I translated it in my head differently. You had a couple of principles in the book that came to choice, and that if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, and you reap what you sow. This idea of planting things on this earth, right? Like going in and doing the hard work. Would you say you agree overall with that principle? And what does that look like in your life and people watching, that really you have choices in your life and making those choices can better your life or set you back?
Well, that's inherently one of the themes from green lights. We can engineer green lights in our future by the choices we make today. We like to make a contradiction and think that responsibility and freedom are like sometimes opposition, but they're not. They're actually completely entwined. We are responsible for our freedom. We can take responsibilities today that grant us more freedom in the future, give us more green lights in the future. if I'm going to, see you and when you get up out of the chair and you and I are in the room and you left your purse there and I steal your wallet. Well, I maybe immediately got some cash maybe I needed, but have I really bought myself a green light in the future? No, because now every time I'm in Rachel's city, everywhere I go, I'm looking over my shoulder going, I hope Rachel's not here because she probably noticed that her wallet was gone. Now I've created stress in my life. I bought my free time in the future. I created less freedom for me in the future. So it's a lot about delayed gratification, understanding that the choices we make today are compounding assets in our future, and to be able to see further down the line and see how the choices we make today, responsibilities we choose to take or don't take, have consequences. Check in with yourself, who yourself is 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and have a look back when you're struggling with a choice. Go, well, what would myself 10 years from now think about this? How's that going to land? Is it going to be something that promotes more growth and health and truth for me and my loved ones, or less? Just know that it has compounding assets. We can engineer green lights. I'll also say this, though, but it's a fun thing about the green lights. The art of catching the green lights is, what do you do with the yellow?
The caution, right? Yeah.
Sometimes a yellow light's there for us because, you know what? We need to slow down. We need a red light. We need to pause, take some introspection, check in with ourselves. We need that intervention. We need that pause. Sometimes, though, catching the green light is about approaching that yellow light and going, I ain't giving that crisis credit. I'm putting the pedal to the metal and blowing right through this light. You know what I mean? Because we get in ruts sometimes. We slowing down at too many yellow lights. And we're making mountains out of molehills and dwelling in our red light. Oh, woe be me. And you're creating crises where maybe, you should have just blown by that. Don't even give that credit. Put the pedal down, drive through that one. Other times it's like, no, I need to heed this yellow. I need to slow down, take a pause.
Yeah. And back to what you were saying earlier, though, I'm like, you have to be present enough in your life, in your situation, in your relationships to know in the yellow light, to discern, do I speed up or do I slow down, right? And so to be aware, to be in your life and aware, which is so great.
And understand what you really value.
Yes.
Understand what you really value, and that list of things we value in our life and what order they're in, those change in our life. Mm-hmm. They're different for young men and women before they have a family. The value meter changes. Things take different priorities as we grow through life, and that's fine. But, ask yourself, what is it that I really value that I'm growing here in my life?
So good. So much wisdom. And seriously, it's all in the book, you guys. Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Okay, can I ask you one semi-People magazine question?
Absolutely.
Since I have you. Okay, out of all your movies, Matthew, what's the one that you look back on that was the most fun to shoot? On set, with the people, the storyline, the character, all of it. What's the one that you're like, yes, that was really fun?
Well, I got to go back to my very first one, Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
All right. Written lines in that, and I ended up working 3 weeks. So I'm coming to set in the summer of 92, Austin, Texas. And it was one of the greatest summers of my life. And I did not know at that time if that was a one-off hobby, if that was going to be one thing I did that summer of 92, and then I went off and did something else in my life. And here it is 29 years later, and it's turned into a career that I love. Mm-hmm. Started off in one summer night in Austin, Texas, 1992.
Okay, in order for all that to happen, though, you would say that there's a level of confidence and awareness that you kind of charged in there. You had you were proactive in the situation, right? So there's a lesson for that for people of when you engage a situation, you're going to look a whole lot different than if you kind of just sit back and let things happen to you.
Well, I was incredibly impressed to be there, but I realized right then, you better be involved. Oh,
yeah, that's it.
Can't be in the thing going, I'm sick. We have to be more than just happy to be here. When we're in a moment or that's of good fortune or something goes well, we have to be more than. I'm all for gratitude, but gratitude does not mean a false modesty or a not giving ourselves enough credit to go. No, let's get in this. Let's engage. Let's look this situation in the eye and do what I need to do and focus on what it is I need to do. So yeah, I've had been in the right place, right time, but also taken some opportunities when they showed up for sure.
For sure. Taking initiative. I love it. Well, Matthew, thank you, honestly, so much for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. It was an honor. And again, everyone, it's Green Lights. It's such a good book. So, so good. So, guys, pick it up anywhere books are sold. And thanks again, Matthew. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Rachel. Thank y'all.